ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नममिदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नममिदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. So Bhashyakara says Advaita Bhavaha Prayojanam Dvaita Prapanchasya Avidya Kritatvat Vidyaya Tad Upashamaha Syat Iti Brahmavidyā Prakashanaya Asya Arambaha Kriyate. Asya Granthasya Arambaha Kriyate. This text, this treatise, is began because for what? Brahmavidyā Prakashanaya. Purpose. Purpose is to reveal the Brahmavidyā which is there in the form of the words, pramana. So Brahmavidyā Prakashanaya asya granthasya arambaha kriyate. What will it do? Well, so Advaita Bhavaha Prayojanam. This Prakarana Chatushtayam has a one purpose, that there is one non-dual whole. That's it. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. There is just non-dual whole, and so that is to be revealed. If there is one non-dual whole, then I cannot be separate from the whole. Therefore, I am whole. So what you are seeking in your life, you are seeking wholeness. You are seeking existence. How much existence you want? Limitless existence. Yeah, wholeness means limitless. You want limitless existence. You are existent, that's not doubt. You don't require Vedanta for that. You are an existent being. Oh, well, Vedanta reveals, Satchidananda. That's true. That's true. But Vedanta does not reveal that you are existent being. Yeah. But what you seek, that is what you are. That is what Vedanta reveals. You are limitless existence. Which is what you are seeking. Every day you are seeking, and every day you want to live. Well, one day more, one day more, one day more, one day more. How long? Limitless. Limitless existence you want. What you are seeking, limitless, cannot be away from you, but that much also nobody understands. Well, if I am seeking limitless, how can it be away from me? You can imagine. So what you are seeking is what you, in fact, that is what you are. Simple thing. That is what Mahavakya is. What you, I mean, if you all of you are clear, then you feel why people are seeking something which really already they are. Anyway, so basically, limitless existence you are seeking. Limitless happiness we are seeking, so that's what you are actually. You are the whole being. Anyway, Advaita Bhavaha Prayojanam But then, well, why I'm not feeling like that? Well, Dvaita Prapanchasya Avidya Krutatvat Vidyaya Tad Upashamaha. So basically, Dvaita Prapanchasya, says Dvaitam, the duality has arisen because of what? Avidya Krutatvat. Because of the avidya, self-ignorance, which is beginningless. Self is beginningless, and self-ignorance also is beginningless. And therefore, well, whenever one is born, one takes oneself to be, well, a individual being. I am this much. That's the basis for Dvaitam. I am this much. Everything is non-I. I am this much. Ahaṅkāra is the basis. So Ahaṅkāra arises due to, well, Ahaṅkāra means I am this much. That arises due to what? Self-ignorance. That gives rise to what? The sense of duality, naturally. So Dvaita Prapancha, subject-object division. Avidya Krutatvat. That's born of avidya. Vidyaya Tad Upashamaha. Well, that will go away by the vidya, Tad Upashamaha. Well, it ceases to be naturally through the knowledge. And therefore, to reveal that Brahmavidyā, basically this Arambha, Prakarana Chatushtayam Arambha kriyate. Anyway, and therefore, this Ahaṅkāra, etc., is not a substantial thing. If anything goes away by knowledge, it's not substantial. That's how there are several schools which says Ahaṅkāra will go away by basically doing good activities, and even surrendering to the Lord, etc., the Ahaṅkāra will go away. So on doing upāsana, the Ahaṅkāra will merge into Ishvara, etc. That's not correct. In as much as if one surrenders, like varieties of the actions, which every action you offer to Ishvara, ultimately, well, the Ahaṅkāra will be totally surrendered. That's true. Then if I surrender my Ahaṅkāra, right, then who will be benefited? You want benefit, right? I want to be benefited by surrendering my ego. Then the benefit will go to whom? Swamiji, the benefit will go to the surrenderer. Is it not ego, Ahaṅkāra? Is it not ego? If you surrender ego, well, the benefit will go to whom? So that's not these actions, etc., karma, etc., people take the Ahaṅkāra as some real entity. And then surrendering, etc. Well, that doesn't work. Upāsana also, well, Ahaṅkāra will remain. In fact, Ahaṅkāra will fatten. Now I am a meditator also. I could meditate also. And you gain some punyam also. And in order to enjoy that punyam, that Ahaṅkāra should remain. So where will it go? Only when you understand that Ahaṅkāra is just is not a real entity. Ahaṅkāra is just basically the same Aham, the Sakshi, Brahman, due with association to this Antakarana, appears as Ahaṅkāra. But how can you say it is appearance? If it is connected to Antakarana, it cannot be appearance. Yeah, but the Antakarana is appearance, mithya. And therefore, connection to that Antakarana. Somebody says, how I, Sakshi, can get connected to mithya Ahaṅkāra? It is not. Then you are saying you are connected. That's what the ignorance is. That's what ignorance. When you say I am mind, I am this much means what? I am this much means what? You are connected. You have placed I sense where? In your mind. That's a connection. There is, in fact, Satya-mithya connection is not a connection. It's a adhyāsa. I am going to talk about it today. So it's a adhyāsa. Purely adhyāsa. Adhyāsa of something which is mithya upon adhisthana which is real. Anyway, and that is so that for Ahaṅkāra is an appearance. Ultimately born of self-ignorance. And therefore Vidya alone can knock out this Ahaṅkāra. The surrender of ego is in terms of knowledge, not it is in terms of any action, it is not in terms of any meditations, upāsana, etc. All this will definitely keep your ego intact or may fatten also. Please understand it. And there are several schools which talk about this. Well, ultimately you offer yourself in terms of your physical activity, mental activity, verbal activity. You offer every action. Ultimately Ahaṅkāra will go away. No, it cannot. Because it's a product of ignorance ultimately. Anyway, so this is Brahmavidyā prakāṣanāya asya arambha kriyate. Then Shruti further, Acharya quotes pramana. Acharya gives this, that this duality is simply a born of ignorance, etc. There is, even though you experience duality, but there is no real duality. Well, that has been so what Acharya has presented, Advaita Bhava Prayojanam, etc., that has been supported by the Shruti statement. What is the first statement? Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. So yatra hi dvaitam, that's a Brihadaranyaka Shruti. Well, so dvaitam iva bhavati. So there is as though duality. Please understand, Shāstra has accepted, Shāstra has not knocked out dvaitam totally. As though there is a duality. So duality is accepted. But it is as though. There is, because you think that the duality is reality. Well, it is not reality. It is as though reality. And that is why, that's how even people, people sometimes think that this Advaita Bhava, etc. is, Sarvatma Bhava. Means you become everything. That's a very exalted state. And while you are in this body, how can you achieve this? And therefore there cannot be a jīvanmukti at all. Because while in a body, one definitely behaves as though he's a body, mind, senses, etc. And he talks also like that. Oh, I am eating right now. I am walking right now. I am teaching right now. So he is always evaluating himself as though from the standpoint of body, mind, senses. Totally. And therefore, so as though he is embodied here inside, means bound by the body, how can he talk? How can there be a jīvanmukti? There cannot be. Jīvanmukti means what? You see yourself as a free self, free from any kind of a bondage, free from any kind of limitation. Well, that doesn't look like. And therefore, the vyavahāra of this jnani always becomes a questionable to others. So, if the person who knows, suppose that I am a all-pervading consciousness, etc., how can he still continue to have a vyavahāra from the body standpoint? Therefore, there cannot be a jīvanmukti. Once a body falls, well, now the duality has gone and the limitations have gone. Now he definitely merges into Brahman, and therefore we don't accept this jīvanmukti. So there are several pakshas are going to come. I'm just discussing a little bit here. It's a beginning at all. I mean, it's just a beginning. So there are people who do not accept this jīvanmukti, and they give a concession. They say, once you know that you are sarvatma, akarta atma, etc., and you are all pervading consciousness, then definitely you should not transact through the body. You should not do a lot of activity through the body. Means a jnani should, he should remain like a dead person. Therefore, in some place, under some tree, etc., while you should be there, even surrounding also it could be very filthy, but he should remain like that. Means you are going to get mukti once you die. Means the body falls. So right now, if you are understood that you are sarvatma, or you are a basically all-pervading consciousness, limitless consciousness, which is akarta, etc., well, then you should lead your life in such a way that you will be able to gain the mukti once body falls. And therefore, once you understand you are akarta, atma, etc., you should not do any activity. You should just lie down like that. And you have not died, but you should remain like you are dead. And this was a Purupaksha somewhere, and it has been, Sureshwaracharya says in Nishkarma Siddhi, my God, he said, if the phalam of this Brahmagnanam is like this, that I should be like a dog or a hog or a pig lying in the filth throughout the life, then why should I study all these things? Well, I don't want. This is the fruit of the... Really, he said in Nishkarma Siddhi. And that's how I have seen the pictures of these jīvanmuktas. They are lying somewhere. And, they are not even aware of what is in the surrounding. Even the dog comes and, they leak, etc., their body and these and that. But he's as though dead. Akarta atma. Like that. This is not going to work. Okay? So, jīvanmukti is there, vyavahāra is there. Understanding the vyavahāra, the ego, etc., is to be understood as a mithya. It doesn't become zero kind of a thing. And therefore that will be there. It's a Ishvara's arrangement. You cannot destroy it. What you can destroy is which is based on the ignorance, and that is, well, I am this much. I am this much. I is not this much. But you think I am this much. That kind of a identification with the body, mind, senses, etc., you can get rid of it. Rest, the body, a general identification with the body, through that the experiencing sukha dukkham as per the prarabdha, all will continue. The body itself is a product of a part of the Ishvara Srishti, karma phalam, and even therefore, well, this will not go. So, while experiencing, while doing transactions, maybe in terms of a jnanam, acquiring jnanam, or a karma vyavahāra, anything, he understands I am a free self. That is the thing. Anyway, so this is a yatra dvaitam iva bhavati. Well, that is this Ahaṅkāra and etc. An entire dvaitam. Dvaitam has a basis in Ahaṅkāra, and definitely that is also understood mithya. Dvaitam also will be understood as a mithya. And then further statement, yatra va anyad iva syat tatra anyaha anyat pashyet anyaha anyat vijaniyat. This is also from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So yatra va anyad iva syat, when you see there is someone else, when you think that there is someone else, well, then definitely if this is what you understand, there's someone, there is something else other than you, someone else other than you, then in that case, well, you will see some different from yourself. So anyad va anyaha anyat pashyet, then I am a seer, something is object of a sight, and anyaha va anyat pashyet, anyaha va anyat shrunuyat, etc., and I am a hearer, there is something to hear, to be heard, which is object. So this subject object division, well, if you think that there is someone different from you in terms of an object, etc., well, this Dvaitam will continue. But that is anyat iva. So anyat iva is as though there is a difference. And they give a very beautiful example, like like a child, when he sees a reflection of himself, therefore it is not other than himself naturally, but he takes that as a other child, and he wants the child to come along for playing, and the child cannot come because there is no real child to come and play with him, and therefore it cries and complains to mother. Mother comes and says, "Why are you crying?" Well, because he doesn't come with me to play. So how can it come? And you are a mature person, right? And you also look into the mirror and do a bindi, do a bhasma, etc. But you don't take that one as other than yourself. And therefore you don't cry. So when you are there, it's your own reflection, but when you take it as other than yourself, well, it creates a duality and also creates a crying, etc. Samsara. And therefore, this is same way, well, I see myself through the antakarana, etc., through Ahaṅkāra, etc., because there is a self-ignorance, then definitely I take myself as a limited being. Samsara will be there, and the duality also, the world will be different from me, etc. Whereas if you gain a knowledge, again you see through Ahaṅkāra. Please understand, when you gain knowledge, well, you gain the knowledge how? Through Ahaṅkāra, through Paramatma. How can you gain knowledge without a knower? Anything you know, either you know object or either you know yourself. Ahaṅkāra is always there, but it's an enlightened Ahaṅkāra, where Ahaṅkāra itself is addressed. In any other knowledge, the knower is retained. In all knowledge, objective knowledges, the subject, the knower is retained. Whereas this is the only knowledge where the knower is addressed. Where the knower is addressed, that you are not knower. Basically, the knower is in a transaction. Wow. You are using a means of knowledge to basically gain knowledge. You are knower, definitely. But it's in transaction. You are really speaking. You are Brahman. You are Sakshi, etc. Knower is Mithya automatically. Knower is consciousness naturally. The consciousness is your reality. That's a witness consciousness here, etc. And therefore, well, that all proves what? Advaita Bhava. Dvaitam is Mithya. These are all, that's how it has been said here. Ityadi Shrutibhyaha Asya Arthasya Siddhihi. So, yatra tu asya, sarvam atma eva bhut, I forgot that. Yatra tu asya sarvam atma eva bhut, tat kenakam pashyet, kenakam vijaniyat, etc. For the person for whom everything has become oneself, well, and for that person, kenakam vijaniyat, well, I am the seer, and the other one is something seen different from me. Well, means kenakam pashyet, kenakam vijaniyat means what? By whom what is seen. Means there is no seer different from the seen. The seer and seen both, well, are superimposed. I am going to explain, don't worry. Seer, seen basically are superimposed upon one consciousness. You add seer and seen, it's consciousness. You remove seer and seen, it's consciousness. Because it is limitless. What is limitless is limitless. You add a number 1 in limitless, it is limitless. You remove, you do -1, still it is limitless. You add in consciousness, this you superimpose knower, known, etc. Same consciousness. Known, gone, it's still consciousness. And that's what you are, just consciousness, limitless consciousness. So kenakam pashyet, sarvam atma eva bhut. For the person, well, everything has become atma. Means everything is known as atma. Tat kenakam pashyet. I am not a seer different from the seen. Everything is just oneself. Kenakam vijaniyat. I am the knower, the thing which is, the other thing is which is known, object of knowledge, etc. That separation, the division, in terms of an understanding, will not remain. Experiential division will continue because it's a part of Ishvara Srishti. Subject, object, etc. as vyavahāra, mithya, etc. continues. So that is how, once you gain this knowledge, means this all karakas go, that's what it wants. The karta, the karanam, etc., adhishthanam, prayojanam, all karakas. So karakas means which are accessories helpful in vyavahāra. All are gone. So because everything has become one, all karakam, upamardhanam. Upamardhanam means what? As though karaka, as though destroyed. Understood as a mithya. So with what? Sarvam atma eva bhut. The karta is Brahman, the karma is Brahman, karanam is Brahman, the very prayojanam is Brahman, brahmarpanam, brahmahavihi, brahmagno, brahmanahutam, brahmaiva tena gantavyam. All karakas indicating, all karakas are Brahman, means karakas, well, basically have lost the reality. Once you bring Brahman, well, other than whatever you are counting as automatically mithya, we are seeing, very shortly we are seeing, don't worry. So, karanam, etc., everything, adhishthanam, everything becomes atma. So when until this knowledge dawns in you, you will feel this is different, karta is different, karma is different, karanam is different, prayojanam is different, etc. The karma, well, and the place where any karma, vyavahāra, etc. is happening, that place is different. Well, but here one understands that everything is just one atma. Therefore, this Dvaita Buddhi just goes away. That is born of Avidya. And so once you gain that knowledge, well, this Dvaita Buddhi nivritti happens. And therefore, so basically, Dvaita Janya, all the karyam, all the product which is born of Dvaitam, definitely will go away. So this is what it is. Dvaita Bhava Nivritti happens, then this karyam also will automatically go away. That's how generally we are struggling in life for the removal of Dvaita karyam. Really. We are constantly. What is Dvaita karyam? Once a Dvaitam will be there, there will be a Parichinna Bhava. Definitely I am a limited being. And therefore, well, there are objects of pleasure and objects of pain, etc. That also will be there. But I am really interested in objects of pleasure. And well, in order to gain that objects of pleasure, there will be a desire. If you cannot gain it, there will be definitely some anger somewhere. Somebody becomes an obstacle, etc. So all this dvesha, kama, krodha, everything is a Dvaita karyam, basically. So if with the help of this knowledge, when you remove Dvaitam itself, then the Dvaita karyam you need not have to remove. Could you follow? We are generally, what we are doing is we take a stick and we are behind this to remove kama, krodha, lobha, etc. And constantly we are struggling throughout the life. And we evaluate from that standpoint. We don't realize that what is the cause of all this. The cause of all this is Dvaitam. The parichinna bhava, the dependency, sense of dependency is there. Sense of limitation is there. When the sense of limitation is there, dependency will be there. And there will be a constant displeased self. I am a displeased self. I cannot accept myself. And therefore, all the issues will arise. Therefore, basically, pay attention to what is cause. Then in order to remove that cause that is called Dvaitam, well, one has to definitely go to its cause. And that is avidyā alone. Avidya krutatvat, Bhashyakara said. So, Dvaita prapanchasya avidya krutatvat. And therefore, but then how the knowledge takes place? First, the first Swamiji, the darkness should go. Then the light can come. Never happens. Never happens that way. Once the light comes, darkness goes. Not that the darkness goes, then the light comes. So please understand this. Therefore, that darkness can never go unless you light up a lamp. Therefore, people think that, like once Swamiji was giving this example, when there is that happened to me also. You go to some place for a camp, etc. And you have to take classes. So basically, we get up early in the morning and we read few things. During a day, you don't find much time. People keep coming and all that. So generally, when there is quiet place, nobody is there, you just read. So one day, I in some camp, Amboli, I think, and near Goa. And so I got up and, it was very dark night. And I didn't realize that the light has gone already. There was no electricity. So I tried. It didn't work. So, and then I had to sit. What can I do now? I had nothing, I had no mobile at that time. And so I could not read. Then I remembered an example that in order to get rid of this darkness, somebody started doing japa. it didn't go. Some chanted Vishnu Sahasranama, did not go. Took a, that broom and tried to, push this Ahaṅkāra, the darkness from your room. It doesn't go. What you require is simply one, matchstick, etc., which you burn, and it just goes away. So therefore, this Dvaitam, which is born of avidya, Ahaṅkāra, ignorance, will go only when there is a vidya. So vidya prakashana, for that sake only we are beginning this chapter. Okay. Now Bhashyakara says, so he said this prayojanam, entire thing initially. Now he wants to show, means his prayojanam is Advaita Bhava or Dvaita Nivrutti. That's a prayojanam for the entire Prakarana Grantha. Now he wants to give a purpose of every chapter. What is the purpose of the first chapter? What is the purpose of the second chapter? Or what is the subject matter of the first chapter? That also you can see. So for that he says now, Tatra Tavad Omkāra Nirnayaya Prathamam Prakranam Agama Pradhanam Atmatattva Pratipatti Upaya Bhutam. Now, naturally, this first chapter talks about a Omkāra, introduces Omkāra. And Śāstra wants to say to you that this Omkāra is basically Brahman. Right? Means Omkāra is everything. Brahman means what? Everything. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. So Omkāra is basically everything. How will Omkāra is just a name? How can a name be the Brahman? Name will definitely, means any name come, then definitely form comes. Like pot is a name, word I mean. It will bring a pot. Here you say, well, this name Omkāra will bring this Brahman. Is it true that the whole creation is Omkāra? whole creation is name and form. Brahman is basically formless. How can the Omkara indicate a Brahman? For that purpose, we have to do some homework. That is because here it is just said. We are going to see in the whole chapter, but I want to give you the entire thing. That everything is Brahman, and for which we definitely use name. Any name which you use ultimately points out to the only one reality, and that is Brahman. And therefore, Omkara, which is a basis for all the names, well, because Akara, Ukara, Makara, ultimately all the Varnas, indicating different names. Names are formed from the Varnas only. And definitely that name automatically brings what? Its meaning, form, etc. It is connected to that. And even though that entire name form is there, that every name form ultimately, the reality of every name form is Brahman. And that's how Omkara is Brahman. Sarvam Omkara eva. And then it is further said it is Brahman at all. So, Omkara Nirnaya, etc. it has been said here. Prathamam Prakaranam, Agama Pradhanam, Shāstra Pradhanam, Upanisad Pradhanam, where Atma Tattva Pratipatti Upaya Bhutam, which will give you the knowledge of the self, which is Brahman. Atma Tattva Pratipatti means knowledge. Atma Tattva Pratipatti means the knowledge of Atma, that is Brahman. So this Omkara Nirnaya is a Upaya Bhutam. Well, is a means. Upaya means a means. So Omkara Nirnaya, basically, what is that Omkara Nirnaya, etc. We'll see. So this is how, there is a Shruti. Now I am beginning. So Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So Iha. Iha means here. Here in this world, at the time of vyavahāra, right now, at this moment itself, vyavahāra kale, Iha. Iha means asmin kale. And here in this vyavahāra, whatever is there is just one, there is no duality. Means what is there is just one non-dual self, Brahman. So, Veda doesn't say that there will be a experience of Brahman, etc. in a samadhi, or non-dual experience in samadhi, or there will be a non-dual experience which is only confined to the deep sleep state, or there will be a non-dual experience when this perception, etc. resolves, because perception reveals duality. So when the perception, etc. resolves, one experiences non-duality, or in a samadhi one experiences non-duality, or one experiences a non-duality in a sushupti. So that is confined to a given state. This non-duality is confined to a given state. It is not. Indicated by what? By this Shāstra Vakya, Neha Nanasti Kinchanam. Iha means here, at this point itself, at this time, Na Nanasti. There is no manyness. There is no duality, etc. So, it's like what, when, there is a little dispute between a father and son, which is grown-up son. And then the father became so angry and said, from today, you are not my son. Right? He says, from today, you are not my son, etc. If he was not your son, then he was not from today, but he was from the beginning. Okay? Before the birth, you could have said that, well, you are not my son. Right now, once he is born as your son, how? You may not give a wealth, etc. to him, that's a different thing. But this you cannot do. You can deny your wealth to him, but you cannot deny this fact that from today you will not be my son. He is born to you, and he was a son to you. He is son right now, and he will be a son till you die, or he dies, or whoever. So therefore, this statement has no relevance. What I'm saying is, well, when he says in present that you are not going to be my son from today, that is not going to happen. Same thing here. Well, this Advaita Bhava, etc., the non-duality which is confined to a samadhi or for a sushupti, or when the perception, etc., is suspended, well, no, that's not true. Well, from the beginningless time, you were actually a non-dual self. Right now also, when you are not appreciating this due to self-ignorance, you are a non-dual self and you will be remaining non-dual self. Or you are whole. That is not, once you understand you are whole, you are a whole. No, you were a whole, you are whole and you will be whole. You were not born before, you are not going to be born later also. This is your reality. And therefore it is to be neha nanasti kinchana indicate. So at the time of vyavahāra, etc., well, where there is a duality, naturally subject-object division is there in vyavahāra. At that time itself, even if one doesn't appreciate this Advaita bhava, etc., it doesn't mean that Dvaitam alone is a reality at this point and Advaitam will be understood later. Well, once we gain knowledge, I become a non-dual self, etc. No, that's not correct. And same meaning has been told in a Veda also. I mean, in the Chandogya also. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam mrittika ityeva satyam. So, all these names, etc., which definitely is going to denote certain forms, has no reality at all. When you utter any name, the reality is only one. You utter any name. You may utter an entire dictionary. And the meaning of all the words are not various forms. The forms do not have a reality on their own. But the reality is only one. Even though you use 1 million names, the reality corresponding to every name is one alone. The form doesn't have any reality. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadhyam. Well, all these forms, etc., have their being ultimately in something else, and therefore you utter a name part, but you when you try to find out a corresponding object, real object in the world part, you don't find it. Well, you find something else, and that's what I want to explain you first. Then you will understand all this Omkāra, etc. I will connect to later. See what happens. Please see now. Go along with me. The way I am, telling you. You take a flower. A flower has a particular form, right? Flower name, and there is a form. Generally, our understanding is I utter a name, and there will be a corresponding object, independent, existent object, real object. That's what our understanding is. So a flower has a particular form, but a petal, of course, is different. Naturally, it is not a flower. So petal is a part, a constituent of the flower. You don't say petal and refer to flower. You are very clear. What is petal? You are clear. What is flower? You are very clear. We have a separate word also, separate form also. And therefore, definitely, even though petal is a constituent of the flower, well, petal has its own meaning. Form means meaning. So it has its meaning, distinct from flower. Suppose, if all petals are removed, there is no flower either. So this is the flower, the rupam, the name flower and the rupam flower. Well, if you remove, all these petals, you don't find flower. And every petal is what? Non-flower. Please understand. Every petal is a non-flower. So the basis for the flower, the form, the rupam, has in basis in what? Non-flower. Basis as what? Petal. Petal is a basis. Petal means what? Non-flower. Okay? So every rupam, any rupam is reduced to many rupams, many things. So flower basically is an arbitrary word to indicate a lot of things put together. A lot of things which are non-flower put together, and we call it as a flower. So every one of them, every constituent is a non-flower. Please understand this. So every constituent of the flower, which is a basis of the flower, is a non-flower. Now this petal is a non-flower, and it is not a flower, of course, but rather than an object which has a separate word called petal, a corresponding name. So I can't hold up these petals like a bunch of petals, and say to you, please take this flower. When I say take this flower, you take in your hand and say, Swamiji, where is flower? These are all petals. Please understand this. So one thing is certain, even though the constituents make the form called flower, every constituent is a non-flower basically, and it has its own meaning. Clear? Is it clear? This much is clear? Suppose I remove all petals, non-flowers, one by one. Each one of them is definitely a non-flower. And then what is left is a stamen, right, with some pollens, etc. Stamen. Well, that is also a non-flower, because I say stamen. If I just give you stamen and say, take this flower, you say, where is Swamiji, where is flower? This is a stamen. So basically, can I hold the stamen or stem, let us say, and say, please take this flower? I cannot say. Now, Swamiji, you should understand, not just petals, not the stamen. Together it is a flower. No. No. I will put a bunch of petals and the stamen also separately on that. And all this is lying. And I say, take this flower. You said, Swamiji, where is the flower? It's all gone actually. It's gone. Please tell me what is the real object flower for the corresponding name flower. Please show me. No, Swamiji, there is a flower. Okay. If there is a really flower, let us analyze what is the flower. Let us understand. As you start picking up all these petals, which is really a non-flower, ultimately, even though you make a bunch of them, together, put a stamen also over that and say, well, this is flower, you say, where is flower, Swamiji? Anyway, this is called mithya. We are going far away, don't worry. This is not, I am just introducing. Flower is a mithya. In the same way, flower is made up of the constituents which is non-flower, petal. Now we think petal is a reality of the flower, right? Naturally, petal is a reality. Because all these constituents make the flower, therefore the constituent is a reality. Therefore petal is a reality. You think petal is a reality. Flower is not a reality. I understood. When I tried to analyze what is the reality of the flower, I found all petals and stamen and all. So therefore petal is ultimate reality. No, sir. Every petal is made up of the constituents which is non-petal. Yeah. Which is non-petal, okay? And so it can be reduced to what? But what? What is that non-petal? Cell. Let us go directly now in between. So it can be reduced to cell. What? Every petal, which I was considering as a reality for the flower. No. It can be reduced to cell. And you think the cell is ultimate reality. No. Cell is reduced to its own constituents. So all the way down, you find that every object, that rupam, the meaning of the word, flower, etc., for which you gave a different name also, is reducible to something else. So I used the word flower and I found one form. I thought that that form, the meaning of the word, is real. Flower is real. No. I found different constituents. That is the reality of that flower form, right? And when I looked into that constituents, they further are reduced. They themselves are not real, right? So therefore, what is the reality of the petal? Cell. All cells together, constituents, make a petal. Who lends existence to the petal? Cells, okay? This reality means what? Who lends existence to petal? Cells. So, who lends existence to cell? Reduce, Swami. You should reduce further. Well, to its constituents. Well, something else. Reduce to something else. And therefore, ultimately, cells basically you can reduce to some particles, let us say. And then particles are the constituent of, particles themselves together make a cell. Okay. But then particle itself is reducible to electron, etc., to its own constituents, quarks, etc. So which in turn have their own constituents. So non-quarks is the basically reality of the quarks. That quarks is the reality for the cell or for the particles. So what is the reality of particle, non-particle called quarks, okay, or electrons, whatever. So for everything, what I'm saying is, you can see as far as the human mind can go, everything is based, well, upon a thing which is not that thing, and without which, well, a given thing doesn't exist. See, let us take one product. Object A is based upon, well, non-A, constituent, non-A, and without non-A, that A does not exist. If petals are not there, flower doesn't exist. If particles are not there, petal doesn't exist. If particles, if cells are not there, then petal doesn't exist. Well, if particles are not there, cell do not exist. If electron, etc. are not there, well, those particles cannot exist. If quarks, etc. are not there, that electron, etc. cannot exist. So every form, when you try to understand its reality, reduced to some other form, for which we have a name also: quarks, electrons, cells, petals, flowers. So every name, and you are getting various names, a bunch of names, yet you have not arrived at the truth, the reality of a given form. Could you follow what I am saying? Am I making a sense? So this is how. What is the basic reality? Swamiji, I would like to know, what is this flower? What is the basic reality of all these forms? You have said every form is reduced to many forms, rupam. So what is the basic reality of all the forms for which we have a different names, like flower, stamen, petal, well, quartz, cell? What is the basic ultimately reality? What is basic reality? First, accept that basic reality should be irreducible. Okay? Naturally. If it is irreducible, it automatically proves it does, and therefore it should be self-existent. Because the constituents give the reality, the existence to the next thing, right? Petals are not there, flower cannot exist. Therefore, petals lend existence to the flower. Same way, cells lend existence to the petal. Then the particles lend existence to the cell. Then the electron lends existence to the particles. Then quartz lends existence to the electrons, etc. This is my science, okay? Whatever they say. So every form, please understand, it is so simple to understand ultimately that how you are the basis of the entire creation. How you are basis of all names and forms ultimately, which is denoted by Omkāra. That's what my point is. So basically, what is that basic reality of all forms? Just one object, one flower, which is reduced to many forms. What is the ultimate reality which is the basis for all these so-called forms? Stamen and flower, etc. So reality of all the forms is ultimately should be irreducible. It should be basically formless. Then only it is irreducible. If it is having a form, then that form can be reduced to some other form. Therefore, the basic reality should be free from form. The basic reality of the flower is a non-flower, non-petal, non-stamen, non-quartz, non-cell, non-particle. Okay? Naturally. And, well, because any form is reduced further, means it derives existence from that, and therefore the final reality should be irreducible, means it should be self-existent, and not only that, it should lend existence to the everything. It could be a stamen, it could be a quartz, it could be a petal, it could be anything, it could be a flower. So the basic thing, the basic reality should inhere in all these forms, which are denoted by various names. Clear? Still I am talking about flower, don't worry. And therefore, so this is how we should understand three things. The basic reality should be irreducible. In order to be irreducible, it should be free from form, because any form is reduced further. So it should be free from form. basically formless. And not only that, that basic reality of that flower, petal, etc., should inhere everything completely. So, because ultimately, no, Swamiji, but flower exists due to petal only. But the petal's existence comes from something else, Then ultimately the final substance should inhere in everything. Could you follow? Because if petal is a reality, you should say, well, flower's existence comes from petal, not further. No, but petal itself is not self-existent. So its existence comes from cells, etc. Cells' existence come from that. So final substance must be irreducible, self-existent, and it should lend existence to the flower. Okay? It should lend to all forms, if you want to say petal and flower and like that, if you want to say. And now this is regarding this reality of the object, reality of the meaning, denoted by a name flower. This is one. Take another object, because sarvam, everything is Omkāra ultimately, everything is Brahman. So take another object. Take a mountain. Okay? Take a mountain and start same way. The final reality of the mountain, right? You should want to know what is the basis for the mountain. You can ask this question. What is the basis for the mountain? How does a mountain's existence come forth? What lends existence to mountain? Mountain is self-existent? No. Why? Because if you start doing analysis, if you try to find out the reality of the mountain, you find rocks. You find, rock is a reality, Swamiji. Rock is the final reality, self-existent. No, sir. Rock is reduced to stones, you can say, or to a powder. Then again to same particles and this and that. So the reality of a mountain is a non-mountain, non-rock, right? Non-rock, non-stone, non-powder, non-electron. And it should lead ultimately to some reality which is irreducible, form-free. Okay? Which is form-free, irreducible, self-existent. And therefore, then what is the difference between the reality of the flower, which is non-flower, non-petal, etc., which is self-existent, which is irreducible, self-existent, and inheres in entire flower. Well, here also self-existent, irreducible, non-mountain, non means non-form, formless. Well, if the reality of any form is a formless, could you follow? And that could be a flower or it could be a mountain. It's the same reality, self-existent, formless reality. Irreducible, self-existent, formless reality, which lends existence, well, to the whole form. Form is not self-existent. Every form derives its existence from constituent. Those constituents, if they are forms, they derive existence from further constituents. They have further constituents, further constituents, till you reach where you find a given thing which is free from constituents, forms, etc., which is irreducible, and definitely it should be self-existent. Then only cannot be reduced further. If it is reduced further, it is not self-existent. The existence comes from that reduced form. Okay? And therefore, ultimately, so the reality is self-existent, the truth inheres in petal, flower, mountain, star, tree, person, all names and forms, is called Asti Sat. The Sat lends existence to all the forms. Therefore, Sadeva Somedam Agra Asit. The entire creation of names and forms derives existence from this Sat, which is formless, definitely irreducible, which is self-existent. So everything can be reduced to Asti, without which there is no existent thing. Asti is a common basis, reality of all names and forms, invariable. Reality of all names and forms, invariable. Names and forms are variable. The reality is invariable. You can find Asti everywhere. Everywhere. So asti has an independent existence. Names and forms have no independent existence. Asti has self-existent, means it is independent existence, whereas names and forms have an independent existence. Asti lends existence to them. So, existence of this, whatever it is, we are coming to that, nothing to worry about. What is that asti? What is that irreducible thing which is formless, etc.? So, its existence is not dependent on anything else other than itself. That's called self-existent. Self-existence means existence is not dependent on anything else other than itself. That is self-existent. Definitely, so names and forms have a one reality, not self-existent, dependent existence. And the asti, etc., is self-existent. It's a different reality. That's a difference. So, definitely names and forms have a role to play, definitely. Every name and form, a flower has to play a role, definitely it plays a role in a temple, etc. Same way any pot, etc. Everything plays any form plays a role, purpose to play. Now, there is a purpose to play, even though it is not a being, it is not a really a existent, self-existent thing. It's not a being, etc. So, because of the difference in reality between the asti and the names and forms, the relationship between a asti, non-flower, and the flower cannot be that of a substantive attribute relationship. It is unlike red rose. Even though you say existent flower, but it's a different thing. It is unlike red rose, where in your appreciation of the rose, the redness is included. Redness is automatically included. Now, to explain that relationship, I will give you an example, and it's our common example only, and that is clay pot. In that clay pot, definitely, well, clay, your understanding of a clay, in your understanding of a clay, pot is not included. You know, no, Swamiji. Like that red rose, definitely here a pot is also included. If you don't include pot in your understanding, you will not understand clay. No, sir. No, sir. To understand a clay, it need not be a pot. It could be lid. It could be something else. Or it could be just clay. In your understanding, please understand, in your understanding of a clay, the pot need not be included. Pot is not included. And therefore, well, Swamiji, clay is a substantive and pot is a attribute. Naturally, you know very well. We say clay pot, but it is a potty clay. I have not to say that. So basically, it's a potty clay. And therefore, the clay is a substantive potty or the potness. Potty is not fair, but potness basically is an attribute, okay? But it is unlike this red flower. There is definitely intrinsic attribute. Red or some other attribute. In a flower is a substantive. But here it's a different. So clay can be anything. Well, it could be any form, and you understand clay. You keep aside the form and you understand the clay. So potness, leadness, etc. is not intrinsic attribute to the clay. The pot does not exist without being clay. Clay is a reality. This is true with every object, every form. The basic reality is asti, satyam, and that is the reality of all names and forms. And everything, every name and form is like a pot. Pot also is a form with a name pot. So everything is like every name and form is basically like a pot. That name and form is not an intrinsic attribute to the asti. The way pot, name and form is not an intrinsic attribute to the clay. Same way, any other name and form ultimately is not an intrinsic attribute to basically to asti. Well, why do you compare pot, clay, and this asti and other things? Same thing. The pot cannot exist independent of the clay. Any name and form cannot exist without asti. Am I making a sense? Clay inheres completely in the pot. This asti also inheres completely in any object, any name and form, flower, mountain, etc. Am I making sense? And therefore, basically, asti or sat. Well, so every name and form is like a pot, which is not an intrinsic attribute, but at the same time does not exist independent of the clay, right? Does not exist independent of the asti. So that is called an incidental attribute. Potness to the clay is an incidental attribute. Incidental. It's not an intrinsic attribute. So it's an incidental attribute. Intrinsic means a part of the clay. Means if it is a part of the clay, in your understanding of a clay, potness has to be there. But it is not. Therefore, we say it's an incidental attribute. It's not a part of the clay. So clay is transcendental, basically. It transcends pot. And so it has nothing to do with the with a transcendental meditation, etc. So there is no doing here. It's purely cognition. You have not to make clay transcend the pot. Basically, it's a cognition. So pot is not an attribute of the clay. At the same time, it is like an attribute because it does not have a being of its own. So clay in a particular form only we call it as a pot. So pot becomes a kind of attribute without being intrinsic to that. That's how I say incidental. That is why this incidental attribute is called superimposition. It's called superimposition. So a superimposed attribute, you can say potness is a superimposed on clay, superimposition on clay, or potness is an incidental attribute to the clay. Same thing. It's not a part of it. Any superimposition is not a part of adhisthana. No. So definitely in all the clay objects, the clay alone is a substance. So it is a name form that divide it, etc. So basically this is how I want to keep here. What I want to say is all the names and forms which do not enjoy the independent reality, independent existence from the asti, well, has a one reality. They have a serving purpose. So you should say they are real, right? It's not a hypothesis. So every name and form serves purpose. So it has certain reality. But yet the asti which is self-existent, is of a higher order of reality. The relationship because asti inheres in every name and form, and therefore there is a relationship between asti and any name and form. But that relationship is satyamithya relationship. You can say any name and form is superimposed upon that asti. Any name and form is incidental attribute to the asti. Same thing. So entire world is superimposed upon sat, asti, which is self-existent, irreducible, formless. Formless being it's a basis for all the forms, including space. Space is the very existence to the space, existence to the time, existence to anything in the world. Well, basically is derived from this asti. Yeah. Which is self-existent. What is that self-existent? Can I arrive at this formless? Means that is limitless because it is a basis of even space also. Yeah. That it is limitless. Yeah. Then can I arrive at this limitless existence which is called Brahman independently? No, sir. Then why you are talking? Well, still I will talk on Wednesday. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Śāntiḥ Śāntiḥ Śāntiḥ. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.